Hello and welcome to a tutorial video on how to clean up your audio using Audacity for gameplay videos and other sources of fun. Okay, as you can see, I'm using Action. Although this trick would work for Fraps, you'd have to do one little thing different. In Fraps, you'd have to set your audio to pick up your microphone on a button press, so that you can sync up with Audacity as it's going to be recording your microphone setting. However, I recommend switching over to Action, which is what I'm using and what this tutorial is going to cover, as it does this automatically. You can go ahead and separate your tracks into two different audio files. Now, of course, as normal, you'll want to have your system sounds checked, and you'll always want to be recording your microphone, provided that you're going to be talking to a microphone. Now in your settings menu here, you want to go to your audio tab. Here you're going to have your microphone, whatever your microphone's called, and a volume. I've got mine set to 50% on here. It seems to be plenty loud enough. And this is the important part right here. Record microphone into separate audio track. This means, and I can show you right here, as you can see, I have two audio tracks, gameplay and microphone. Now, in order to change the microphone setting, I have to mute both of these and just render this as a wave. And when I render it as a wave, there it goes. I render it at 4800 Hertz at 16-bit in stereo. That gives me basically a nice little wave file. I can put if I have to cut the video into segments, or cut the video so that way I'm cutting out boring material. I link them all together, do transitions and everything. I never have to delete any of these two files. I only have to delete this when I'm done. So it makes it easier if you're using Sony Vegas 12, as that's the program I'm running. Now, the reason that it's a problem for most is that you're trying to balance your system and microphone sounds, and even with it balanced as best I can get, there's still a lot of noise, and it's harder to remove if it's all one track. With that, I'm going to show you how to remove it with using just Audacity. Now, I'll provide a link to Audacity to download it for free. Obviously, it's a free download, so that's a bonus. And I also have a notepad that's going to have all the directions I'm going to go over. It's going to be hooked into my Dropbox, so go ahead and download it. And that'll save me typing and you having to read it. You'll have it right on your desktop. You can just pull it up when you're editing your videos, and we both win. One thing is, all the things I'm going to tell you about once you're done, once you have your audio in here, everything will be done through effects. Now, normally I would come over here, open a file, and it'd load it up. I'm going to record a file. And I'm going to play back that file, showing you what my audio sounds like before, and then after I get it all done, I'll show you what it sounds like afterwards. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and record, and then I'll explain what I did. This is a test of the emergency broadcast system. Okay, you'll notice that I didn't talk right away. That's the first key. You want to have at least a 2-second gap, if not more. That can be edited later. You can cut that right out to the point that your video starts talking at about 1 second. The reason you do this is you want to get an ambient sound. You just want the noises in your room. If your microphone has a hum to it, all these things you want to have. So you want to come up to Effects, go to Normalize, or not Normalize, go to Noise Removal, and Get Noise Profile. That means what you just highlighted is what you want to profile. Get the profile, double click in here, which now highlights the whole thing, and you want to leave this highlighted for now. Go back to Noise Removal. Obviously we want to remove it. All these settings here remain the same, and you hit OK. So now all that noise is gone. Come back up here. Now we want to normalize. These two sets are checked. This is -1.0. This should all be standard stuff that it comes loaded with. So you don't even have to change it. Just hit OK. And now you'll notice that my audio has spiked. This instantly just made this louder. Come back to here. Go to compressor. Now this is something that you're going to have to work with is the threshold. Anywhere from -20 to -12 seems to work. I've found -18 to be a good spot. You might find -16 to be a better spot. Play with it. Test it out on your own. Find what works for you. Other than that, everything else in here, and as you can hear, there's a motorcycle in the background that probably won't be edited out. Everything else here is just going to be left the same, including these empty checkboxes. So go ahead and hit OK. And now you see it's compressed it down into a more tight, manageable file, or well, sound wave. Come back up here, go to equalization, start with bass boost. That'll give your voice more punch and depth, and then you want treble boost as well on that, and that'll just give it a more in-depth feel. Now you come back up here again, go to normalize again, do not change these again, just leave them as they are, hit OK. It stretched it a little bit. Now down to hard limiter. Hard limiter, I put it at -4, that seems to work fine. Again, something you may want to play with. -4 though does seem to work with almost anybody's voice. Hit OK or hit the enter key on your number pad, which is what I'm doing. Now you can see we're starting to look kind of good. And one more normalize. Again, you don't change anything, just go ahead and hit OK. Now comes the test. What may happen is there might still be noise that's picked up because everything's been increased. If that's the case, you re-highlight this, noise removal, normalize it, and then you're done. But at this point, I would call that good, and I'll show you what it sounds like right now. This is a test of the emergency broadcast system. So, there's still a little bit of noise. In fact, I'm actually going to do it from this end. I'm going to go back to noise removal, get profile, double click, noise removal, again OK, and normalize it one more time, bang on. This is a test of the emergency broadcast system. Now, as you can hear, there's no noise in the background whatsoever. If it's a real faint noise and you don't want to do that again, because sometimes it'll mess up the audio in here, leave it in. And the reason being is in most games, the sound effects and the gameplay music will usually blend that right out to where you don't hear even that low hiss that was there. It'll blend it out enough you don't hear it. When you come up here, you want to export. Now, I already have one saved, but I'm going to overwrite it. It's called blah, blah, blah. And we'll hit save. Yes. You could enter in tags if you wish. I don't. Hit OK. Now over here in Vegas, as you can see, I have quite a few of these that I've done. These are all videos that I've got online right now that have audio fixes to them. But what we want is blah, blah, blah. And I just drag it down. And obviously, if this would have been the same audio for this, I would take and put it in there. Now, one thing I do is I usually bring this down to 6.1 and about 5.7-ish on the volume. So it's not quite overpowering. Go ahead and turn that off, and now you can kind of hear the difference of, or hear what it's going to sound like against that music. This is a test of the emergency broadcast system. As you can hear, even if there was a slight background noise, you wouldn't hear it. You could even drop that down further. But hopefully this has helped you out a little bit. Like I said, everything that I've just described will be in the description below, in like the links and whatnot. And the file that you'll need for just remembering all that stuff will be in there as well. So you just download it and then you have it on hand. You don't have to try to write it down by hand or write it out yourself. I've taken all the work out for you and just made it much easier. So hopefully you found this informative and somewhat useful. And leave me a comment if you'd like. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you already haven't. And until next time, guys, have fun.